Now, the whole purpose of a session plan is to give you some structure and for you to be able to know what you've got coming up in your next session. Equally, it allows the next person, if you go on holiday or sick leave, it helps the next person to understand what it is you were going to do in that session with that learner. The session plan also gives the learner an opportunity to prepare and plan and obviously help to contribute towards the sessions. So let's have a look why we're doing this. So you need to understand what the plan is. You'll need to demonstrate how to write one. You'll need to know how to allocate time. You'll need to understand who's responsible. You'll need to show and understand how to meet outcomes. You'll need to understand how and what the brief descriptions are, what an assessment is. You'll need to understand equality and diversity of opportunities within sessions. You'll need to understand enterprise and employability opportunities. You'll need to understand what generic learning skills are. You'll need to understand key strategies, actions and supports. You'll need to understand what resources you'll require, and you'll need to understand how to self-assess the session and give feedback. So, starting off with, why do we have them? Well, here, again in Ofsted, you can see it asks for the schema work, which hopefully you've written first, because there's no point writing a session without schema work, and then a session planning. Now, there are lots of rules of thumb around planning for a session. Some people just want evidence of planning for a session, and some people want more than that. Here, though, you can clearly see that it wants proper detail. So here it says an extra range of activities, blah, 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 blah. Evidence of highly detailed session planning with timing, structure and methods. So that kind of knocks out the theory when they go, all you need is a quick discussion, that's evidence of planning a session. Yes, it is, and that may be seen as good, but it won't probably be seen as outstanding. And we're aiming for outstanding. So that's why we need them. The schema work that you wrote is the big picture. But what it doesn't really do is it doesn't tell us in detail what we're going to do and why we're going to do it. So what we then have is a detailed session plan. So here you can see session plan. We're going to pop your name there as the assessor and how long you're going to need with the learner. So that's not on the scheme work, is it? The time frames. Oh. Sorry, bear with me because my computer's decided to again do strange stuff. Right. Here we've got the purpose. So every time I start a session, we need to understand what we're going to get out of that session. So to prepare your resources, it's really simple. Whatever you've said in the scheme of work, so for example, we'll go on the MBQ website. Well, okay, great, that's what we're going to do in that session. But what are they going to get out of that? So here we've made it into an outcome. So you need to understand how to create an account and understand the purpose and be able to navigate around the website and be able to access everything you need. So that's a far more robust outcome. Once you've made your outcomes for the session, which should tie in to there, BKSB, E247, ILB, CV, VARC, and ICT, so induction there. So all we've done, we've taken that page. What have I done? Sorry. We've taken that page and we've added that all in there. The next thing we've done is then gone on and said, well, okay, now let's break this down. So here we've got the times that we're going to allocate for each thing and the person responsible for it here. In here, we're going to put the outcome. So we basically want them to create and understand an account. That was our first outcome. There, we're going to do a brief description. So when you're teaching that session, what are you going to say to them? It's a bit of a nudge for you. So if you've got handouts or you've got anything, resources or activities, you pop it in there as your brief description, how you're going to meet that outcome. And then there, the assessment, how do you know that they've achieved what you've planned? So moving down, again, you can see, navigate the website, download workbooks. That's what they're going to be doing, and that's how you're going to assess that there. Okay, and you just keep going with the outcomes that you've got. Then eventually you'll go, well, I think that'll take me a couple of minutes, that'll take me 10 minutes, that'll take me this, and that'll give you the total time for the session. Okay. Finally, you always end on a summary. So your session plan really is a reflection of your scheme of work, and here you've then got other areas, so equity and diversity. So how are we going to meet E&D needs? So obviously if we're doing workbooks and things, we could text resize. Enterprise and employability opportunities. So by them completing this, what are they going to get out of it? How is it going to promote them? What generic learning is taking place? So how are you embedding functional skills, etc. Key strategies and actions to support. So what additional things there do we need to be considering? And then finally, your resources for that session. Lastly, you would then put your self-assessment there, and you would fill in what it is, how you felt that session went. So when writing your session plan, the documents you're going to need are obviously your scheme of work, because that's what you're saying is going to happen in that session. You're going to need your standards, so your main aim units, your technical units, and your functional skills units, so you can plan in what it is you're going to do. Here, you need to think about your assessment, so it's kind of like your assessor's award. How are you going to gather that evidence, and what does it mean? So that was the first one, just to give you the introduction. Now, with that, you need to then make your PowerPoints or your resources for the session. So here we go, session 1, MVQ induction. By the end of this session, you'll be able to, okay, and then what I've done to make your slides for the session, I've then just cut and pasted that to there, setting up an account, workbooks. So as you go through your session, if you create slides, which is a copy of your session plan, so it's just cut and pasting, if there's any problems, there you go, that was downloading the workbooks and a review from the session. So that session there ties in with that session there. And all we've done, we've just cut and pasted that into a slide. Oh, don't know where that one came from. We've cut and pasted that into a slide. Don't know why that's doing that. And we've then added a bit more notes. So in our plan, where we add the brief description, that becomes our points within the PowerPoint. So when you're doing a session like this, you could just be going through your slides and going, well, okay, so that's what we've done. And you've got that there to remind you to have that discussion or to show something. So once you've written your scheme of work, and you know that you've got however many sessions you've planned, so 34 sessions there, you know you need 34 session plans. Now, when you do your teaching and learning, the nice thing about this is once you've done it, you can then turn around and go, I'm just going back there, when you do the review, you can say, well, you've completed session 1, and you can just use that there to go in the review. Because you can say, well, you know, we did our session and this is what we covered. So therefore, what the learner has learned should be all of that. And therefore, when you do the reviews with your learners, you've already got the answers that you need for the review. Now, obviously, each learner is going to be on a different session in your scheme because some are going to progress quicker, some are going to progress slower. When you then get to do their personal assessment plans, those recordings, you've got this, haven't you? So you can say to them, okay, you know, here I wanted you to download your ICT workbook and complete that. So that's part of their assessment plan, and you can say by session 2, whenever your next session is, I want that complete. Because obviously there's no point moving on to another session unless you've completed your session as a whole. But just to give you an example of what another session looks like. That's PowerPoints. Sorry, so here you go. Session 32, and we're covering main aim unit number 6. So the outcome of this was to understand the answers in the main aim workbook. So that was giving them feedback, really. Here you can see they're going to have a face-to-face visit for the learner and hold a teaching session. They'll do the webinar session and download it and navigate, and then here you've got some other bits and pieces that they're going to do. There we've written what it is that you're going to cover with them in the main aim and the face-to-face bits, and you can see that that's a 2-hour session there. And again, all we've done then for session 32, we've put that into there and the aims of the sessions. So again, the slides are made up to reflect that. So, hopefully you have found that useful. I'd like to thank you for watching that session. Again, just to summarise, hopefully then you've understood how to write the session plan and what documents you're going to need. We've covered those other points, so hopefully it gives you a little idea on how to write your session plan. Again, if you need help, by all means, email me or call me. Thanks for watching and good luck.